Eagerly he stares, intent on TK's hand, touching the handle on the door to let him out to start his day and scare everybody on this Halloween. A lot of people's favorite holiday. You don't have to, but you can send cards. You don't have to, but you can give away candy. And you don't have to, but you can put on a fun costume, and I think I am going to. And don't let me forget to tell you what Joe Joyce is doing tonight. There's a party. And the atmosphere, today's one of those days we talk about for a week and wonder how it's going to play out. At one point, we thought this might have been a rain and snowstorm for New England, but instead a welcome rainstorm for those experiencing low wells in northern New England. Here's how much rain fell. The red dots are more than 2.5 inches, so a lot of, especially southwestern Connecticut, New York City area, there was flash flooding. And then on the upslope of the presidentials, Gorham picked up 1.6 inches of rain, but then on the downslope, Derby Line, Vermont only got 1/3 of an inch of rain. But now the wind is coming around and shifting, and we're going to have upslope on the west side of the mountains, but nowhere near as intense as it was last night on the east side. Oh, incidentally, it's 57 degrees here. Past 10 o'clock. T-Rex was having a dream this morning, and he went, ooh, in his sleep at 5 a.m., and that disrupted the whole course of the day. I had to look at all the weather then. It had just stopped pouring rain, and the wind was light. Now, since then, the wind has picked up, and the rain is mostly gone. What should we start with? Oh, there's so many things to talk about. We've been watching Melissa and this potential storm for us on Halloween for so long. So here's the regional roundup from, this is after 8 o'clock in the morning, and you have a wind over Nova Scotia from the southeast gusting past 50 miles an hour, and you have the wind over Nantucket from the southwest gusting close to 50 miles per hour. I don't have to yell. My microphone does a good job. Calm down, Tim. And then the eye of the storm was right over Morrisville, Vermont. When it's not really an eye, it was the center of an occluded low. And it was calm over Morrisville with a temperature of about 50 degrees. So right in the center of this very deep low pressure system. How low can you go? Here's what it looked like on the 12Z analysis. I usually don't get a 12Z analysis because I'm not up and not out the door that late, but here it is. There's a 980 low, and it was occluded this morning. You remember occlusions from last week with a triple point low redeveloping, but not really strengthening. So that low over northern Vermont is going to remain the primary low as it slows down and continues to intensify. That means the central pressure is going down. The lower the pressure, the stronger the wind, air moving from high to low pressure. And because it's occluded, that means it took the cold air and wrapped it south and took the warm air and wrapped it north. And that's going to play a role in our forecast tonight. It may be snowing in southern Vermont and raining in northern Vermont. That's what happens with an occlusion. How's our snowpack on Mount Washington? Well, it looks like they got the fire going for the Cog Railway. It's going to be operating today, and it's raining. And looking up, there's no snow on the ground there. And the summit conditions, the temperature is above freezing all the way to the summit. It is going to go below freezing slowly this afternoon. And rain, 1.63 inches of rain. And right at the beginning, there was a 0.2 of an inch of snow to start this thing yesterday. And this morning, when the wind was coming in from the southeast, it gusted to 90 miles an hour. And then there was a lull in the wind. And now we're all going to see the wind picking up from the west. And it's unstable. And that's why we have these clouds right here over Boston. Instability clouds. It's getting colder up in the sky, but the temperature inside the house actually didn't go down at all last night. The temperature went up last night. That's what happens with occluded air. We've got colder air coming in from the west-southwest now at most levels of the atmosphere, except for in Maine. I want to show the big picture radar of the country, and obviously the biggest storm in the nation is right over New England right now, but there's a new one coming into the Pacific Northwest, and very subtle. There's a spin there. You can just make it out with some subtle echoes over Minnesota. That subtle spin over Minnesota could result in the next coastal storm here on Tuesday. So much for Tuesdays are good if you can get them. All right, time out for a boat coming right at us into the wind. This boat keeps going by like every day, right? And we're down to one moored boat left off here. And can you hear the heavy equipment running over here? Something's going on. Hopefully no blowouts. That's loose over there working on the corner of the concourse, making sure the boulders are just right on both sides, downhill side and the uphill side. All right, talk about big picture. I got to show this, the satellite imagery from Zoom Earth. What a great website of the Pacific, North America, and the Atlantic. So Melissa is out there looking very tiny compared to what's going on there south of Alaska. Look at the size of that storm in the North Pacific. We're going to have to track that. So now we've been talking about the Atlantic for so long, we really have to watch the Pacific. And actually we were. The storm that we're having right now over New England, there it is, getting a little closer with Melissa looking kind of tiny. That is a blend of storms that came from the Pacific and storms that came from Africa, making our weather so exciting. And so that storm over the Pacific, before I move toward New England, I want to just show you the surface analysis from the Pacific Ocean. And look at this. You need a traffic cop for this one. You also need an encryption code reader. 951 millibar storm, 951 millibars. In New England, that's a 980, just to put wind in perspective. So, and look at all the different arrows. Talk about needing a traffic cop. We got the storms moving to the north, towards the west and southwest, and towards the east and southeast. So that monster of a storm in the Northeast Pacific is going to splinter into pieces and send a lot of pieces into North America. And we're going to have to track that. And also, I want to mention what's going on. You had that record snow in Iceland and some record cold in Iceland with the Greenland block. But now we're going to focus on the other side of the North Pole in Siberia. Love this handle here, Theory Goose. And he's talking about some of the coldest air in Russia, meaning Siberia, really, around 37 degrees below 0 Celsius, which is about minus 34 degrees Fahrenheit, so they're pretty close together at that point. And that's the coldest there since 1898. And clearly, you can tell by this graphic, can you, that it's very close to all-time October records. You see those blue numbers there, those blue dots rather. The blue dots are records for the date at that station, which I cannot read Russian, so I don't know what station that is, but you can see on the very right there that that blue line going down to pretty close to some of the coldest temperatures on record for the month of October. And these records in Siberia go back more than 140 years. So incredible cold. So you know what that means when we have that kind of cold in Siberia? That's Arctic air, pure Arctic air. And we have to start tracking the purple blobs. So let's track the purple blobs. No. Yep, we are. I forgot to do some things, but here we are. There's the purple blob coming over the North Pole. And can you make out the North Pole? It's kind of right at the center of the map. So this is projection looking kind of straight down as if you were up in a spaceship looking down at the North Pole. And the purple blob is coming across Canada. And the purple blob kind of, blue blob comes at us with that storm on Tuesday and Wednesday. And then another storm on Thursday. Looks kind of warm. The orange is warm. The purple is cold. And the purple blob kind of comes in and fades over New England next Friday. So the purple blob, Arctic air, is coming to our side of the North Pole, but most of it's going to stay up in Canada, and then it warms up again next weekend or early, that's around Veterans Day or so, and the purple blob then goes into the middle of the United States, and we warm up, and that's the story of the purple blobs. We'll be talking a lot more about that as we get closer to winter. Now I'm going to reel myself back in here, and I wanted to show the satellite image of New England this morning. Well, actually New England to Florida and out to north of Bermuda. So on the right there is still Category 1 Hurricane Melissa, which missed Bermuda safely to the north. And I think the Euro did the best with that. And then the storm that's over southeastern Canada and New England. And those are all ocean effect clouds off south of Cape Cod, all the way down to Florida. Look at that mosaic of texture with the storm force winds out over the ocean. And we talked about the surf potential for today. Start off with the Narragansett Town Beach cam. There were 1 or 2 people out there. It's about an 8-foot, 11-second swell, and that looked kind of scary. But you want to see really scary? How about if we go to the Cinnamon Rainbows cam on Hampton Beach? I watched this for just a couple of minutes. It made me shiver. See, we've had a swell from the east now, a fetch from the east of 1,000 miles for the last 3 or 4 days. And then you get the Hurricane Melissa swell mixing in from the south, and you have an offshore wind gusting 35 to 40. And that's chaotic, monstrous surf this morning, and the wind just got on it so fast, so maybe someone was out there for a sunrise session. And so diminishing surf. What about ski? All right, Killington, the guns are prepped, and it was raining this morning when I looked at the webcam at the Northridge cam. But if you click on the Killington report, they're very eager to fire up snow guns tonight. 196 unprecedented energy-efficient snow guns are going to start ripping from the summit. All the way down to the Northridge chair, so that's like the top maybe 1,000 feet of the mountain, will be plastered with machine-made snow tonight and tomorrow. What about natural snow? Well, it is going to snow a little bit naturally too, but not a lot. So now finally, let's get to some maps in motion. Well, I guess that purple blob map was a map in motion. HRRR and HRRR verifying what the Euro has said, that this storm was going to be very deep. And look at that. The green is rain, by the way, blue is snow. But look at the red L meandering around Quebec City at about 970 millibars. Are you kidding me? That is incredibly powerful, and that's the reason for our powerful winds today. And the precipitation there going to the north in Maine and coming wrapping around to the east, north of the low, because it's counterclockwise circulation, right? And then you see the colder air. Now notice the 540 blue line and some snow in New York, but look at the 546, that's warmer air near the center of the low. Remember, this is an occluded low, so it's actually warmer in northern Hampshire and northern Vermont than southern Vermont. So that's why tonight it is blue, snowing at Killington, while it's green, raining near Mount Washington. Well, not at the summit, and at Jay Peak. So it actually may be that the mountains of central and southern Vermont end up with more snow than northern Vermont. Occluded low. I've said it 1,000 times, and you're probably tired of me saying that, right? And instability wanes and the wind lets up tomorrow afternoon only slowly. The precipitation is done tomorrow afternoon. The HRRR only goes out 60 hours, so that's it on the precipitation. And I'm going to spare you the moving snow maps, but I'm going to show you two different snow maps here. All right, here's the what's called actually I'm going to do total snowfall. You see on the left on this guidance right here, on the left, all those choices, there's your total snowfall, there's your 10-to-1 snowfall, there's your Kuchera snowfall. That's off the charts. I'll talk about that as we get closer to winter. But I'm going to use the total snowfall. Total snowfall, put it over the cursor near Killington, and it says about 4 inches. So that takes into account the temperature of the ground and how fast snow is going to be melting. And it says about 4 inches of snow near Killington. It says 1 or 2 inches up around Jay Peak and Mount Mansfield. And then if I go to snowfall and I click on the 10-to-1 ratio, which would be more of a traditional powdery snow, or at least regular density, which we're probably not going to have because it's just too warm and too moist tonight, and then too dry and too stable tomorrow. But that shows a 12 inches over Killington. So the forecast for Killington is for 4 to 12 inches of snow above, I'd say, probably 3,000 feet. The problem is there's going to be a stable layer coming in tomorrow. Once again, occluded air has stopped saying it. So the mountains are not getting a snowstorm, I guess is the bottom line. And you are saying, when is this going to end? All right, let's just go to the Euro now. And the big picture for the lower 48, southern Canada. And that subtle spin, I'm going to initialize it here. This is 2 a.m. when the model came out, because I want you to see that little spin over Minnesota. And also, if we widen it out now, you can see the low over New England. And very last day, we're going to be looking at Hurricane Melissa, still in the 960s to 970 there on the very right-hand side of the map. So long, Melissa. One for the history books. That name will be retired, and there's so much talk happening about what happened down there, and everybody helping people in Jamaica. Now put this into motion, and what's going to happen in New England? Our low is sitting and spinning. Those are the isobars. The green is rain. The blue is snow. The isobars are so close together. The Euro was right with how deep this storm is going to get. And as it only slowly pulls out, high pressure goes to our south tomorrow night. And that means instead of being colder up in the sky, it'll be colder down near lower elevations with an inversion on Sunday morning. Incidentally, there is a frost advisory all the way to Atlanta for this high amplitude flow. Now, our upper low and a little surface low is digging into the southeastern United States. I was dubious of that a couple of days, but it's maintained itself. Now, as we get to Monday, that low gets to the coast, and look at this. Cyclogenesis over North Carolina, new cold air coming at New England, and the guidance is saying there's going to be a phaser. That is when the northern stream and the southern stream phase briefly here on Monday night and Tuesday with a nor'easter deepening into the 990s, but very quickly moving out and not in time for it to have a snowstorm anywhere. And this is kind of an outlier, so we may have a cold, mostly wet, not white nor'easter on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, new batch of cold air comes in. High pressure is moving off to the south and west. And then here comes another clipper on Thursday. And we're going to be warming up when that clipper goes to our north. And it's a deep one, a lot of wind, but the rain snow line is in Canada on that one. I'm sorry, I know I keep teasing about snow in the 5 to 10 day, but that says it's going to be mostly rain. But then along with that purple blob we looked at earlier on Friday night, it is cold enough for upslope snow coming in Friday night. And that'll be another couple of inches, just an upslope, no organized snowstorms around here. And then that goes away and we have high pressure building south of us once again. That's a warm up. And then if we go out now, day 10 is Sunday, November 9th, hopefully. And I, once again, had so much on my mind, I kind of lost track, but it looks like we're going to be in a rebound with the red lines coming back at us and warmer air advection and another low in the Great Lakes states with a new batch of cold behind it. But that may end up being an inside runner also. All right. Open your eyes, Tim. Okay. It changes on the 10-day all the time. As I always say, the weather changes in waves and weather forecasts change in waves. And for now, we have no organized snowstorms. I know that my skiing friends are chomping at the bit to get going. I mean, last year we had skiing on October 12th, and there was record cold coming at us a year ago for Halloween, and we had snow guns going, and I think ski areas were starting to open. So Killington's going to be first, I believe, and probably not. I don't know. If I had to put a guess on when Killington might open, I'd say maybe the middle of next week. All right. Yesterday, just watching the drizzle and the wind never really picked up at my house. Oh, yes. Last night's wind from the southeast gusted to 50 on Cape Cod at that Mayor Pam anemometer in Wellfleet, and also Blue Hill gusted to 50. And Blue Hill had close to an inch of rain, and I had, look at that, exactly, you can't see it, can you? Well, trust me, that's exactly an inch of rain. So I'd say we get the under on the rainfall here in the Boston area and the over on the rainfall in Connecticut and around New York City. So yes, I have been having tomatoes in every meal, with every meal. And like I said, I want them to rot more on the vine than inside the house. But all good things come to an end. We're going to have a lot of tomato seeds next spring, though, aren't we? All right. So we call it yesterday's weather today. Thanks for watching. Steve is actually almost looking at the camera. And more. We went shopping for Halloween stuff and a new vehicle, perhaps. And more. Still editing. Oh, boy. It's 11:30 on our Thursday. It's 56 degrees, and I kind of forgot about Steve. I do this sometimes when I'm editing. Oh, thankfully, not too windy and not too wet between our high barometer nor'easter and our incoming low barometer sou'easter. Blue jays are squawking. Are they squawking at you? Sorry, Steve. I just call you Mint, did I? You're a little damp there. But, you know, a lot of cats live outdoors. Just a steady drizzle. No whitecaps right now. So our strongest wind is usually has some kind of a northerly component, whether it's northeast that way or northwest or west that way. So when the southeast comes in, I'm kind of blocked here. And while he goes by this bucket, it makes me remember this is the amount of precipitation we've had since September. So well over a foot. It's kind of grody there. Yep, birds. That's the bird bath. And I have not drained the outdoor plumbing yet, and I'm still taking outdoor showers, and I think I need to give you a shower. Look at you, Steve. He really didn't like being ripped away from his breakfast or lunch and being toweled off, but you were pretty dirty, Steve. Somehow cats take care of themselves, don't they? Sorry I left you out for 2.5 hours. Steve has since retired to his cat napping. Weather hasn't changed too much here. Steady drizzle, not too windy. The Sebago dock and lift people are putting in steps beyond our line of vision here. So it'll be interesting. This is the blowout that was fixed this week from the rain of 2 weeks ago right there. And Luce is over, I can't tell which side. I think he's mostly working on the water side over here right now. The tide waits for no man, but I believe the tide is going out right now. More and more and more.
No. Nope, not that one. That one.
Yeah, precisely. Oh, it's going on the uphill side over there. You have to go for a walk on this concourse. Believe it or not, I have not walked the concourse yet. I can also fly over it with our new drone. Not on this windy day though. And 10 minutes later, the action has shifted over here. So now we're dismantling that sort of staging, dirt and crane matting staging they used to do that repair last week. He was just quite active there, moving the dirt to the truck. Now that I'm making a video, it kind of stopped. So hopefully there's not another blowout. You don't have to rebuild this again. Out the door, 2 o'clock. We are auto shopping. Nice day for it. This one I'm not so sure about. Believe it or not, this could be the style. It fits skis and surfboards and refrigerators and couches and cats and dogs. Watch the birds. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some drafting. So that's the rental right there. And this is what we're test driving. Sean, what do you think? Just touching right here, standing up. Yes. Like I've been driving this. It's kind of clunky. I actually got sideways in it yesterday in the wet roads and 2 high, so I put it in 4 high. This one actually seems more stable. The tires are smaller, but it was comfortable. The next trick is shopping for Halloween. This should go with something, huh? I need a hat. I need a white puffy shirt and a hat to go with this guy. 52 degrees. Done shopping for today. Just about done with the video, although after the sun goes down, our heaviest rain and wind, so we might have some nighttime weather footage for the and more yet to come. 5:15, sun's going down. Last visible satellite image of the day. There's our low that came from south of Alaska. There's our hurricane that was a wave off of Africa, like 2 weeks ago. And look at the conduit of the merger of the moisture anyway. And if we check the radar, let's put this baby in full screen. I think you could almost consider this sort of an outer band of the hurricane trying to reach up, and we've got some flash flooding there near New York City. And the wind is a non-factor so far, and the precipitation has not been steady since 1 o'clock yesterday, but it's been precipitating for the most part, and the real deal is coming in overnight, as we saw. About 10 to 6, so the sun's been down for about 15 minutes. We've had some gusts of wind, but so far the real deal is off to our west and south. Real fun watching radars and satellites as it merges. So I'm just gonna hang out here, make some chicken soup tonight. And the clocks go back this weekend, so as it gets dark here now, before 6, it gets dark before 5 on Sunday. And Sunday looks like a pretty nice day. Hopefully I'm not going to be in a hurry. And as for our Saturday, well, let's get through Halloween first, shall we? Yes, spooky may include a little bit of chicken soup and or costumes before I'm done with this edit. But piano music is playing as the storm clouds gather and thicken over New England. Weather from near Alaska meets weather from near Africa. We have the most interesting weather on Earth.